I'm Doug Ebringham. I was a family doctor in Rockhampton 40 odd years ago, and I wrote to the paper saying what a good thing fluoridation was. Then I started to find evidence that there was not all good things come out of fluoridation, and I changed my mind, and I've been studying the subject from that point of view ever since.
I believe also you've had political connections?
Yes. I went into politics in '67 and was health minister in the Whitlam ministry from 72 to 75. I lost a seat for 2 years and I came back and left Parliament finally in '84.
I've been a GP for 39 years. I acquired an interest in nutrition from my father, who was also a doctor. I took a year off to do a Masters of Nutrition at the University of London. I've got postgraduate qualifications in general practice in 3 countries in children's health. And I've served for 6 years in the TGA's Therapeutic Good Administrations Committee, CMEC,
Great.
Complementary Medicine Evaluation Committee.
Right. And could you just state for the camera your full name?
John Alexander Ryan.
My name is Jenny Ryan. I'm a nurse first of all, and then I became a dietitian. I have a private practice on the north of Brisbane, and I first became interested in fluoride when I did a lot of research on autism and ADHD, where we actually looked at scientific papers that actually mentioned the negative effects of fluoride on the growing brain. So I've had an interest in that for many years, and gradually over many hours we've taken a large scope of the fluoride story and tried to sort of make some sense of it. So I have a passionate interest in babies and the need to keep fluoride out of the water.
Jean, you're a dietitian and you've signed a professional statement calling for an end to water fluoridation, available on Dr. Paul Connett's website. Please tell us a little more about yourself, including your involvement with the water fluoridation issue, and how you first found out about the ethical and health dangers posed by forced fluoridation of water.
Well, first, it's the duty of any government to have clean air, clean water, and basics for health. And I feel that if you're going to medicate a population, the first thing you should not do is add anything to the water supply. The water supply should be clean. We put, as far as I can see, we put a little bit of fluoride in the water, and that is considered a medication. The dentists often talk about having fluoride much the same way as you'd have a bleach or chlorine in the water. And this, of course, is just a nonsense. What happens is that you put the fluoride in the water to treat people, whereas you put the chlorine in the water to treat the water. Those are two amazingly different concepts. And what you find in the dental health section is they try to muddy the water using those two analogies. I'm really passionate about the fact that babies under 6 months should have absolutely no fluoride. This is a time when the young brain is growing. It's a time when the blood-brain barrier is not yet solid. It's a time when these babies are at a huge inclination for an insult. And this is why when over recent times, even the Lancet paper have suggested that fluoridated water should be actually considered as a toxic element. And I think there's a good reason for that. 1 in 6 kids these days have a problem with brain function, have a problem with behavior. Whether it's ADHD, whether it's autism or whatever it is, young brains are very apt to have a problem with any sort of a chemical, with any sort of an enzyme inhibitor. And fluoride is an enzyme inhibitor, and this is why I'm passionately against putting fluoride in the water.
We talked to another naturopath who's also signed the statement calling for an end to water fluoridation. He discussed individuals that are hypersensitive to fluoride. Have you also come across patients that suffer more immediate, let alone long-term effects from drinking fluoridated water? And this other interviewee referred to the work of Dr. Bruce Spittle and Dr. George Walbot, amongst others.
Well, in our clinic we have a lot of people who are hypersensitive. Now they're sensitive to all sorts of things. They're sensitive to dust in the air, they're sensitive to pollens, they're sensitive to chlorine in the water. And it's very difficult, but you often see people who travel from New South Wales or whatever to Queensland in the olden days, specifically to get away from the fluoridated water in different states. These people now, and I know several of them, have had to put tanks in the backyard and have to had an enormous expense. They've had to put certain covers on their showers, all sorts of expensive utilities in the home to try and get rid of the fluoride in the water. Of course, the problem with these people that they have is that when they go out, when they drink water in the city, when they try and have a cup of coffee, when the kids, let's say, go to school, they have to bring their own water supply. And it's enormously difficult for these people. What they often have, they have a little bit of eczema, they have a little bit of a cough, they have a whole lot of other things. And really, any sort of an environmental hazard can be detrimental to these people. So isolating fluoride is difficult to do that, but many people themselves do think that fluoride is an issue. And there's a few people that have suggested in the clinic that since fluoride has been put in the water, their skins have been much more sensitive. Of course, it's very difficult to get this tested, and the only thing you can do is take it away, see if the skin gets better, get them to have it again, see if the skin gets worse. And this is what we do, and this is the way we try and eliminate whether fluoride is a problem or not.
Could you just explain a little more for the audience that the government is always telling people that there's nothing to worry about? Could you perhaps elaborate on your professional thoughts on that statement?
Well, this sort of thing amazes me. One of the things that they've said is it has no problem even being an enzyme inhibitor. When I was at college, every day for several weeks we actually used fluoride drops to inhibit enzymes. So, and then you have the ADA come and sort of say, oh no, it's not a problem. But if you look at any biochemistry text, you will see that it is an enzyme inhibitor. And if you have something that inhibits enzymes, the whole body is very enzyme dependent. So really, very small, minute amounts over time are a problem. And this is where the problem lies, that it mightn't be today or tomorrow you're going to get the problem. It's like people who get cancer. Not everybody gets cancer when they eat, let's say, ham or something with nitrates in it. However, some people do get gut cancer from these things. Again, from fluoride. Not everybody will get the problem, but there are many people who do, and putting it in the water is certainly not the way to go.
According to Dr. John Carney, Victoria's Chief Health Officer, this is a direct quote from the ABC television of 2007. Quote, "The only possible adverse effect of fluoride might be mild dental fluorosis, and for which we have put out, very good guidelines on how to avoid that. The benefits, on the other hand, are absolutely indisputable." Unquote. Do you agree?
Well, I agree that he hasn't put out anything to do with how to avoid it. These are dentists. They have never told anybody. When you put fluoride in the water in Brisbane or wherever it is, they should put out some sort of a notification to parents of young babies to say, do not use fluoridated water when you're mixing up your baby bottles. They have never done that. And as well as that, you often hear where dentists consider that they should eat the toothpaste. Now, toothpaste has huge amounts of fluoride in it. And these people are actually doing these ridiculous things. And John Carney has been part of the whole story in that they're trying to get the positives of water fluoridation as they see it. However, they just go too far. And one of the things about John Carney is that he has led, as far as I can see, a whole campaign which really denigrates the whole area of public health. In public health, you should tell the whole story, and he has only told half the story.
So would you disagree that the benefits of water fluoridation are absolutely indisputable?
I would dispute anything John Carney has to say on the benefits of water fluoridation. I think most people with any sort of a scientific background would dispute them. Anything that John Carney has said in the past has been open to dispute, and he has not looked at one scientific paper. If this is the sort of person that's looking after the health of the people, I would suggest that New South Wales or any other health department find somebody with a bit more ticker and with a bit more absolute confidence that in scientific research.